Hello and welcome back to another episode of App Stories. This episode is brought to you by Things from Cultured Code. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Fetici. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is a rare Friday recording for us for App Stories. That's a little behind the scenes. It's been a busy week at Mac Stories. We published all of our reviews of all of the 26 OSs. Federico handled iPhone and iPad OS. I did Mac OS. We had Devin with Vision OS and Jonathan with Watch OS, and he also did CarPlay as kind of a follow-up. So a lot of stuff on the website. And today, as we sit here on a Friday, it's an important day because this is the day that all of the goodies arrived. And so we thought we would take a little departure from the usual app discussions of App Stories and talk a little bit about hardware and what we received and some first impressions from it.
Yeah. I received my iPhone Air, my AirPods Pro 3, and my Apple Watch Ultra 3.
Mm-hmm.
I received them this morning. I set them up around lunchtime, and I've been mostly using the iPhone and the AirPods all afternoon. And the Apple Watch Ultra, I just took a quick video. I've been posting some stuff on the Mac Stories Instagram page, some fun short videos. I only put it on. I didn't really have the time to set it up because I was also finishing the behind-the-scenes story for my iOS and iPadOS review, which, by the time this episode is out, should be out for Club Mac Stories members in the Mac Stories Weekly newsletter. So didn't really have time to fiddle around with the Apple Watch Ultra. Also, it's gonna be a whole thing because I gotta transfer the watch from the previous phone to the new phone. I'm not sure. Then I gotta migrate the backup of the old watch to the Ultra, and I have to set up. In Italy, it's called, like with my carrier, it's called One Number, which is like the basically the eSIM for the Apple Watch that is tied to your phone number. I gotta set it up again because I don't have it anymore. I wanna have it again, so I need to spend some time playing around with the Ultra, but I have it, and we can show it off on camera later.
Yeah.
What did you receive, John?
So I have basically a similar package, although the phone is different. I have an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I also have the Apple Watch Ultra 3 and the new AirPods. Now, mine came literally an hour ago. And I've been setting them up. I tried to do the fastest possible route, which is, using the iCloud backup, which they say takes 15 minutes. At one point, it said it was going to take 17 hours, but you know how those estimates go. That dropped very rapidly to 8 hours, to 1 hour, to 20 minutes. And as we got started with recording, I actually got everything finished. I have a whole bunch of blanked out icons that are not ready yet
Okay.
All right. So I'm in that stage right now, but I actually have a home screen and I have a Wi-Fi connection and a cell signal. So I can actually use it as a phone and presumably get text messages, but I haven't gotten one in the last 15 minutes. So that one's in process. The Apple Watch is going to have to wait until the phone is ready because I need to set it up in the Watch app. And then the AirPods are charging because they came fairly uncharged. The case was at 65%.
Yeah, same.
And the AirPods themselves were at 24 or something like that, which was a little weird. But I did test those out on my iPad for listening to a couple of songs. So I can talk about that in a little bit too.
Okay. What do you want to talk about first? Your iPhone 17 Pro Max?
Yeah,
or do you want me to talk?
Yeah, let's do that. Because I was really struck by this phone. First of all, I'm going to hold it up for the people watching on YouTube. You can see.
So that's the blue color.
That's the deep blue color, and it is more a real blue than your typical Apple Pro phone. It's a very nice blue. I like it a lot. But what struck me, besides the fact that I like the blue, is the unibody design, because when you look at it as 16 Pro Max, like I have, I'm going to pick mine up here. It's actually sitting on the desk doing the other stuff. And now my phones are freaking out about which one's going to connect to my Apple Watch. But here's the 16,
Okay.
with the
Okay.
Pro Max with the silver titanium rails on the side and the white glass on the rear side. And when you compare them,
Okay.
what's different really it's really this. It's the fact that it's a unibody design. So you're looking at, as you turn the phone over in your hand, it's all metal, one piece of metal, everywhere from the very edge of the screen on the front to the back. And the edges, these edges along, the corners are a little bit rounder than in the past. They feel really good. This has kind of a soft touch finish to it, the way it's been, the aluminum has been finished, which just feels really nice in my hand. And so, yeah, I like that a lot. And I think that the camera bump, it's massive. I mean, it's just huge.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, look at that.
It's huge. It's the
Yeah,
iconic plateau, right? I mean,
the iconic
you have the
plateau.
plateau and then you have the lenses sticking out even further from that. But I mean, if you're one of those people who didn't like wobble, it doesn't, you know what? It still wobbles. It doesn't wobble as much because, those lenses on the one side there, those stick out compared to the flash and stuff on the other side is flush with the back. So it's not absolutely flat on the plateau. So you get a little wobble, but I've never been one to really care much about that one way or the other. But yeah.
Can you feel a difference, like when you set up an iPhone for the first time and it's re-indexing and downloading? Does it feel different, like in terms of like, is it warm? Is it hot? Like, can you tell that the aluminum is helping for dissipation?
Right now they're both hot because they're both working really hard transferring data between them. I would say that it's spread out more evenly on the back of the 17 Pro Max. It's still quite warm, but it is spread out quite a bit. Whereas on the 16 Pro Max, it's kind of centered around near where the MagSafe puck would go. That area of the phone, kind of in the top middle. But they are both pretty warm. I think the proof on that one is really going to come with time, with kind of ordinary use. Setting this up right now, this thing is just chugging away, downloading data. So I think it's going to be pretty warm no matter what. But you can feel I can tell it's dissipating the heat better in the sense that, like, because it's unibody, even the sides are a little warm. But that's a good thing because it's like spreading it out more. So it's not like in one spot on your hand as much as it would necessarily be in the past.
Right. Can you show me the color again?
Yeah.
Like, especially the edges?
Yeah. So
Okay, that is very different.
And can you see how it's kind of rounded there, Federico? Especially when you look at a corner.
Yeah.
See that in the light?
Yeah.
It's got a really nice round edge along here, and the color is.
Now this is a good moment to remind people that there's a video version of AppStories.
Yes.
If you're listening in your podcast client, now would be a good time to bookmark this timestamp and go watch the video version.
Yeah. It's definitely blue. It's definitely more blue. I had a lot of times in those photos, the colors look more saturated than they do in real life, and then in real life sometimes the darker colors look more like black. But this does not look like a blue-black. This is definitely a blue, more on the blue end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Did you get any accessories?
I did not. I figured, I think the tech woven cases look pretty nice to me, but I wanted to kind of get a sense for the color of the phone first before I committed to a particular case. And I wanted to also see the cases in person because they have that kind of interesting different fiber colors woven through them, and I want to see what that looks like in practice.
Yeah.
I'm also sort of intrigued by that Beats case that has the little pill that can be opened up and used as a stand. I think that would be the kind of thing. On the one hand, I'm not really sure I want to have a lanyard on my phone. On the other hand,
Right.
I feel like that would be kind of nice to have when I don't know, sit down to eat and I want to watch a YouTube video. It'd be pretty handy to have that little stand right there.
Yeah. Okay.
This episode of App Stories is brought to you by the award-winning to-do app, Things. Things is one of those apps that's always ready to go on day one with a new OS, and Things has been thoroughly updated for all of the OS 26s, with a fresh new look and loads of great little improvements. The first thing you'll notice is the brand new app icon for Liquid Glass. It looks perfect on OS 26, and it supports alternative appearances and styles too, like dark tinted and the all-new glass clear version. Next, you'll find that the interface has been refreshed throughout too. More rounded corners for windows, to-dos, dialogues, and controls, and wider spacing that feels a bit more relaxed. And a touch of glass in the sidebar that lets some color shine through, along with glassy buttons that respond to your touch. If you're on the iPad, Things supports the all-new Mac-inspired improvements. Things smartly adapts to its layout for the new windowed apps mode, and you can open multiple windows and place them anywhere on your screen. Of course, Things also supports the new menu bar, which exposes many powerful controls and keyboard shortcuts. Things is one of the best productivity apps on the iPad with deep system integration. On the Mac, you'll find that Things now integrates with Control Center, offering 2 new control buttons. One control button that lets you add a new to-do, and the other lets you jump into any list. And of course, you can place these controls directly in your menu bar for one-click access. If you're on a Vision Pro, Things now has widgets to place around your room and support for Apple Intelligence writing tools. Taken together, the new design and features makes Things a delight to use. This is a native app made to very high standards of quality and a 2-time winner of the Apple Design Award. So if you haven't tried Things in a while, you should check it out. The latest version is fantastic. Head on over to things.app, that's things.app, to learn more about the great features in Things. Download a free trial for your Mac, and you'll also find it on the App Store. Just search for Things. Whatever you want to accomplish in life, Things can help you get there. Try Things today at things.app. You won't regret it. Our thanks to Things by Cultured Code for their support of the show. How about you?
Can we talk about the iPhone? Can we talk about the iPhone Air?
Yeah, I want to hear all about it because you sent me a couple of pictures this morning and it looked pretty neat.
Okay, well, here's the iPhone Air.
And that's in black.
That's in black. I wanted to go for the maximum thinness visual aspect.
Sure.
And here's me holding the Air. Here's the camera bar at the top. And what else I can show you? Also the MagSafe battery.
Okay.
Attaching to the back of the iPhone Air.
How would you compare that MagSafe battery to the old one? Because you and I both had the old one from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, it's slimmer and taller.
Yeah.
And it basically sits flush against the whole body of the Air. And it's even nicer in that when you attach it to the Air, like the animation that plays on screen, the card here is exactly the same size as the battery in the back.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the sheet on the lock screen is matches the size of the battery in the back.
That's cool.
I'm in love with this phone, I think. It feels unreal. It feels like I know that it's called the iPhone Air. I know that typically like the Airline shouldn't be like the crown jewel of Apple's hardware design. But this phone to me evokes almost the same feelings as the iPhone 10 8 years ago. It feels, in a way, impossible in that you're holding this thing that feels lighter almost than an iPod Touch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a phone. And it's super thin and comfortable to hold with one hand. And I picked it up and I was like, whoa. Like, you immediately feel that it's not supposed to be this light and thin, but it doesn't feel cheap. Even though it's thin and light, it doesn't feel hollow. It feels dense somehow, but it's not heavy at the same time.
Right.
The edges, because are shiny, they do pick up a lot of fingerprints, but also remind me of the old, what was it? Like the jet black iPhone color from way back in the day. Like the iPhone 7 maybe was in jet black. It kind of reminds me of that. And I handed the phone to Sylvia. I was like, hey, you gotta feel this. And she picked it up. She was like, whoa. Like, because as soon as you pick it up, even though she was coming from an iPhone 16 Pro, I have the 16 Pro Max.
Yeah.
Even though she's coming from the smaller one, she was like, "Whoa, that is cool."
Yeah.
I've used it for like 4 or 5 hours.
That's what I was
this
going to
afternoon.
ask. You've had it. You obviously are living in the future, so you've had it for a full half day at this point.
Yeah. I have it set up with my home screen and all of my apps. The one problem that I'm having right now, and I think this is actually a thing for me every year, iMessage is not activating.
Oh, really?
With my carrier. Yeah, I think this also happened last year, and I forgot what I did. I was stuck with this iMessage and FaceTime that were not activating for my phone number. My email addresses obviously are fine.
Yeah.
But iMessage through my phone
Some
number
kind of
is not
carrier
activating.
thing, probably.
Some kind of carrier thing. I think.
Speaking of fingerprints, Federico, I will say that this ceramic shield on the back, that does pick up fingerprints a teeny bit. Not in a bad way, not too bad, but I noticed a couple when as I was setting it up and holding it. So
yeah, I was gonna say the only thing that is not working for me, obviously, it's still pulling some data from iCloud, like my photos library, for example, is still downloading thumbnails, still restoring some of the apps. Yeah, if I go in the app library, I see it's still restoring a few things.
yeah,
Beyond iMessage, that is my only issue. I've been using it all afternoon. When I went to pick up my 16 Pro Max to erase it, because I'm going to trade it in,
sure.
I picked it up and it instantly felt like a little brick. I am going to try my best to show off on camera the differences here between...
Yeah, that's a pretty stark difference. I mean, obviously the 16 Pro Max is a lot bigger, and it also has harder edges around the screen compared to the Air.
It does have harder edges. It's got, the display is obviously a little bit bigger on the Pro Max, but it instantly felt like a little brick in my hand. I think, I don't know, my first reaction is that I'm in love with this thing because it feels like Apple sort of exploring, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with iPhone hardware again.
Right.
And the more I look at this, the more I use this, the more then I look at photos of the 17 Pro and the Pro Max, and I don't really like that industrial design in an object that I'm going to hold in my hands every single day. Like, I'm so happy that Apple is doing this. And I think it's going to be useful for me to use this phone for the next year as an exercise, looking ahead at a future foldable that I'm sure is going to borrow heavily from such a thin iPhone design. I took some pictures today of...
I was going to say, what does it make you think about with a foldable? Like, if you took two Airs and sandwiched them together, would that be an acceptably sized phone for you, do you think?
Well, I think if they can make it even thinner, which knowing Apple, I have no doubt they can, especially if they can move some components around. If they can make it even thinner and sandwich them together, I think I'm going to be fine with a phone that can open up and be a tablet. I mean, that is the whole thing with foldables, right? Yeah. When they're closed, maybe they're going to be a little bit thicker than a regular phone, but then you also have like another device inside. So I am going to be willing to make that trade-off. I can also show off, John, the bumper.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to attach the bumper. So this is very old school looking type of iPhone accessory.
Is it a soft bumper, kind of silicone or whatever? Silicone?
No, it's kind of a hard plastic bumper.
That looked a little hard when you were holding it up, yeah.
Let's see if I know, because I don't know how to attach this bumper, honestly.
What color did you get it? Is it black?
It's a black bumper that I am trying my best to put around the phone. I don't think I am going to use this device on honestly, okay, we have the bumper on.
All right.
So
it hides those nice shiny edges when you do that, I bet. Yeah.
This is the phone with the bumper.
It looks good.
You can still, it makes it a little bit easier to grip, obviously. You can still feel the thinness of the phone because you can do this. Obviously,
Right.
you can feel that the phone is thin. I don't love that it has a lip at the bottom.
Right.
So this is the classic bumper issue. Yeah, it's a lip. So you do have a bit of friction when swiping up from
Sure.
the bottom of the screen because your finger feels the lip of the bumper
Right.
here. And I don't love that. I think I'm going to use it without a bumper, without anything for a while.
Yeah.
Just see if I like it.
Maybe just hold
I
on to it for
am-
when you travel and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to, like my everyday carry is just going to be this and see how it goes.
That's the phone and the battery, folks who are listening in audio. That's what he's holding up.
Yeah, that's Also, I want to show off the custom USB port that Apple had to make just for the iPhone Air because the profile of the phone was too thin to accommodate a classic USB-C port.
Yep.
So they had to commission like a custom 3D printed USB-C port that is just very fascinating. And it just attaches obviously to any USB-C cable.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you know what? I have said before that I'm not super thrilled with the industrial design of the Pro line this year. I agree with you on that. But I have to say that I think I made the right call with the blue because it's kind of minimized that industrial look to my mind a little bit. And it is better looking in person than I expected it to be. So I'm overall very happy with my purchase. I'd say in terms of weight, it's roughly it doesn't really feel any different holding it than the 16 Pro Max. I know they're not exactly the same weight, but it feels roughly the same to me, close enough that it's not really noticeable in any kind of meaningful way.
Do you have any other thoughts about the phone, or do you want to move on to the AirPods?
I want to actually do the watch really quick because I know we don't
don't
have a lot to say about the watch just because neither of us have had an opportunity to set them up yet. But I want to. I'm going to show off. I've got the black case for the watch, which it's telling me to try to pair it with my phone, but I'm going to wait on that. I'm not going to do that while we're talking. And then I got this green. I think this is the trail band, which has reflective, fibers on the edges, I think, for when I'm out running in the dark, I guess. But that's what I got there. Look, one thing that'll take a while to set up. I'll probably do that as soon as we get off this call because I actually have some places I want to go in a few hours, and I would like to be able to leave the house without having to feel like I'm interrupting the setup process.
Yeah. This is my Ultra 3.
He went with the lighter casing.
I went with the lighter casing. I still have to set it up. It's got a different sensor design in the back.
Yep.
Went with the what's this one called?
The Ocean, I think, right?
Blend?
Yeah, the Ocean Blend.
Yeah.
It looks like you got the one that's kind of light blue, which looks like a really nice color.
Yeah. So this one I still have to set up. So it looks very similar to my existing Ultra One. I look at them side by side, and honestly, I cannot tell.
The difference really is when you look at the edge. Look at the metal at the edge, and especially it's maybe half a millimeter thinner, the metal edge, or a millimeter at most.
I'm honestly looking, and I cannot tell a difference between these two
I
watches.
think the metal is a little bit thinner, and the pixels extend closer to the edge of the screen. Although, since I don't have it set up, I'm not really getting a chance to look at the pixels.
Did I buy the Apple Watch Ultra 3? Now that I'm looking at them, honestly, I cannot tell what's different here.
The buttons, the orange buttons on mine are different colors too. It's a darker orange, darker orange on the black, and maybe that's a black Ultra thing and not
interesting.
I don't know. Well, anyway, you know what? For the very first time, here's a fun fact. For the very first time in ordering new Apple devices, I didn't get any accessories, so I didn't have the old, get the case a couple of days before you get the phone. But typically, I have had I've usually gotten the return boxes first before the devices. The trade in your iPhone and trade in your Apple Watch boxes, and I didn't get those. I don't have those yet, so that's good, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's always a little sad getting an empty box in the mail, especially when you're waiting for
Yeah.
a shiny new phone.
Yeah. 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 All right, let's talk about the AirPods.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
As the final thing we received today. So what were your previous AirPods, John?
So I had the AirPods Pro 2, and
Okay.
I have those are here. They have the winky face with the tongue out
Okay.
engraving. And before that I had the Space Invader on the original AirPods Pro, and this time I went with the Ghost that has kind of the winky face. I've decided I kind of like the little bit of personalization on my AirPods more so than a lot of things. So I always get like a single weird emoji on my AirPods. So that's what I did. How about you? What did you have before?
I had the AirPods 4, and I have moved to the AirPods 3 with no engraving because I just it's gonna make it harder to sell them later if you have them engraved.
That is true.
And so I don't want to do that. I was surprised by the width of the case. Like it's like squished and wider than I remembered. It's also taller, I guess, compared to the AirPods Pro 2 case.
Let's see. Yes, a little bit. Barely though.
Two things that stood out to me immediately: the angle of the ear tips is like straighter. It's like straight compared to before. Like the angle of the tips used to be more like downward facing.
Yeah.
And now it's more almost perpendicular
Right.
to the earbuds. And the second thought is that I am going to have to get used again to the idea of wearing in-ear tips.
Do you not like
After
them?
a year of AirPods 4, I'm not in love with the feeling. But I can tell the difference that they make for the sound. Like I was listening to music today and they sound incredible.
They're amazing.
Compared to my AirPods 4, there's more bass, there's more detail, there's more just acoustic detail in everything you listen to, and that comes because of the tips. So even though I don't love the feeling of the tips inside my ears, especially because after I gotten used to the comfort and freedom of the AirPods 4, the tips do make it sound better, and the noise canceling also sounds much better than before. Like it's kind of freaky almost that these two small things almost cancel more sound than my AirPods Max, which is wild because of the seal that they make. The final thing I will say is that I was under the impression that these tips would have some kind of foam layer.
They do, but it's on
inside?
the inside. I can tell the difference.
Where?
I don't know. I haven't really examined
I thought
it.
there was gonna be like a visible.
Oh no,
foam
I think it's
layer
built
here.
into the very.
It's built into the membrane,
Yes.
or like it's built into the material.
Right,
I guess. Like I thought it was gonna be a silicone layer and then a foam layer, but no, it just this material, I guess, combines both silicone and foam.
Yeah, if you hold,
it's not like gonna be.
if you hold the old AirPods 3 in your hand, at the very tip where the part that's where the hole is a lot more flexible on the old ones than it is on the new ones. On the new ones, this is a lot firmer up at the very part that goes into your ear. And that's where the foam is, I think. I noticed the difference putting them in my ears immediately in terms of they just felt more substantial and firm than the old ones.
Okay.
The old ones just felt like having that flimsy rubber kind of jammed into your ear. And this feels more like having a thing in your ear, but not in a bad way, because they also do mold to the shape of your ear. So it's not like it's putting pretty even pressure on the inside of your ear canal, I think. But yeah, just looking at, just to show off, I guess, the size difference. Here are my two pairs of AirPods. The ones with the winky guy are here, and the Ghost over here, and you can see the size is different. But boy, it's pretty minimal difference between the two. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. I'll tell you, I only listened to a couple of songs before we got on the Zoom call, and the vocals were a lot cleaner and crisper and easier to hear. The bass was amazing. I only listened to a couple of songs, but they definitely sounded better than any other AirPods I've ever used before, which I really, really appreciate.
Yeah. Well, I think those are our first impressions of the new hardware.
They are.
We're gonna have more to follow over the next few days, over the next few weeks. But yeah, that's it for today. We just got them a few hours ago. John got them a few minutes ago. So that's the episode.
All right. Well, we'll be rolling into the Pro Show, but thanks for joining us today, everybody. And thanks again to Things from Cultured Code for supporting the episode. You can find me and Federico over at macstories.net. And of course, we're on social media where Federico is at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.